It is a war against our food, or it seems to be it. It's happening. Go back to our episode of Mike in the Night, Food Wars, Food Riots, Food Shortages that we did over a year ago. And in counting, looking at how many places have been either a plane crashed into it or something was sabotaged or fires or all kinds of bizarro stuff happening to our food supply, whether it's logistics, whether it's the transportation problems, whether it's farmers being bribed to shut down their facilities and stop producing, or destroy your crop. We don't need it this year, even though they need it. Even though there's food wars brewing that a lot of people don't know. Right now, on the Mexican-American border, Mexicans are put a halt to all GMO corn being delivered south of the border. Mexicans don't want GMO corn, right? So there's a little bit food wars brewing between countries too, and it's going to get a lot bigger, and it's going to be a lot more prevalent. Now, I got this letter from a gentleman, a longtime listener of the channel, and I want to read it to you guys because it's very important, okay? Hey, Mike, longtime listener, I would like if you could withhold my name and email, but I would like for you to share our egg war story with your audience. I used to be a big player in the Indiana egg sector. Used to be on boards and working with family businesses in lower Indiana, doing what I can to make life easier for small businesses to help them flourish and grow. I settled down in 2016 and I started my own poultry egg farm. I added a few pigs and cows. I've been noticing up until March of 2022, the feed we were using to feed our chickens/hens, 8,500 chickens/hens, wasn't right. Something seemed off. The smell, the texture, and even the taste. Don't ask. Taste the feed. Make sure it's all good. But that's good. That's how you do things, right? It's a bizarre bulk layer feed, and then and the hens are not producing eggs as much with this new feed. So we went with another feed with a better formula, and it seems to be working better now. Now I have been bribed multiple times, yes, bribed, to shut down my business, slaughter everything, and walk away for a very pretty penny. Yes, you wouldn't believe the amount of zeros on the proposed check that was to be written. I've had other big corporate outfits trying to buy me out to simply shut me down or expand their projects here in Lower Indiana. There have been 2 mysterious fires in the last 8 months. We have since installed cameras now all over the perimeter. It's crazy egg wars, Mike. I'll keep you and your viewers updated on what is happening here out of Indiana. Tell Mitch I send my condolences. So Mitch is someone that comes on Mike in the Night that's been in having a lot of problems with a lot of his family members dying suddenly, right? And he's called into the show multiple times. So send my condolences to Mitch. So this is it, guys. Something big is brewing. He's got to be as vague as possible because he doesn't want to get in trouble by any of his neighbors or people around him. And he kind of, wants to get this word out because our food is under attack. This is not either they're attacking us via inflation where we can't afford to buy food. I found a video from 7 years ago that the food when I lived in Vancouver is actually costing more than my rent. The price of food, logistics, transportation at the time. They were blaming the price of oil when oil was $120, $130 a barrel. Remember that? Back in 2014, 2015. Do you remember that? When they were blaming the price of food was high because the price of oil is high. So the price to transport your food has gone up and the price of producing your food has gone up and all that stuff has gone up because the price of oil has gone up, right? Remember that, guys? But then the price of oil a few months later, look at the charts, goes down to almost $20 a barrel. right? The price of oil goes down to almost 20 bucks a barrel. Guess what happens? The price of food still goes up. And I made a video dedicated to that like 7-8 years ago saying, hold on a sec. The price of oil goes down to 20 bucks a barrel, and now the price of food still goes up? They're having a tough time hiding the inflation. And people would be bought out of food. We've been predicting here for a long time. People will be bought out of food. I was predicting by 2020, and that was back in 2016, at the rate we were going at. This is simply an attack against private sector, right? Remember how I had this thing in my mind? I wouldn't let it go for a long time, guys. Remember back in early 2020 how I said that they want to federalize? They want to federalize our logistics, our transportation, our shipping. They want to federalize everything and take it away from the private sector, take it away from the mom and pops. Remember that, guys? They were making it impossible for people to buy parts for their trucks, for their own, self-owned people that own their own trucking businesses and hauling and all that stuff. They were making it impossible. Well, I was under this effect that I believed that they were going to federalize our transport. Everything. They want to federalize everything, right? And now, as, 2021, 22 hits, late 2022, we started going into these food riots, food wars, food this, distribution problems, planes crashing into buildings, all kinds of bizarre fires, all kinds of things. And they want to federalize our food. They want to put in the chemicals they want to put in. Did you guys know back in 2012 in Canada, the federal government tried to pass a bill that Canadians will not be allowed to know where their food comes from? Yeah, look it up. I think it was with meat too. They were going into the meat sector, right? So if you go and you want to buy some steak, made in China, made in Thailand, I don't want this steak from here. Most people will obviously go for the grade A Canadian beef from Alberta. That's what I would do, right? But the Canadian government was so in bed with these corporations and these corporate outfits that they were going to disallow Canadians to know where their meat comes from. You don't have a right to know that. I don't know if it's been applied. I don't know if they've changed it. I don't know what's happened since 2012 because I've never continued following it. But that's what's happening right now. Our food's been at war. Back at the turn of the 20th century, you would have tens of thousands of independent slaughterhouses across America. Tens of thousands of them. Maybe 100,000 plus. And it was independent businesses slaughtering their own beef, working with farms and all that stuff. Now, you got what? 20 in America now? 40 in America? Big slaughterhouses now. And then, if that's maybe less, I'm not sure. But don't quote me on the number. So they've corporatized our food. They've hijacked our food. Now they're taking out. Now, if you look at the facilities that are being attacked here, they're not public sector facilities. They're not the bug factories. They're going to want to eat the bugs and all that. Those facilities are nice and safe and sound. Those facilities are not having any issues. It's the private sector facilities. Now, if you go into the list, I went back to the Mike in the Night we did with food wars and food riots and our food's under attack. I went back and I went through the episode and we went through an entire list. And there was 128 facilities that were attacked. And that was in early 2022. Okay? So we were kind of looking through that and kind of picking it apart and figuring out it was all private sector. There wasn't a single thing there that was government owned and operated by the governments. So the bug factories, the preservatives companies that the governments own, like make preservatives, all kinds of garbage, and none of it is government owned facilities. It's all private sector, small private sector facilities that supply to the big umbrella companies, the huge umbrella companies. Anyways, guys, egg wars, yeah, they're real. They're happening. I got someone that's friendly to the channel that reached out to email me. And if you want to email me, you can find my email on, obviously they're on YouTube. And you can email me your story, whether it's finance, whether you're struggling, interest rates going up, how is it affecting you? You work in the food industry. What are you seeing? It's all good. Message me. It's all good. And if I have time, I'll read it for you guys. And not only that, I want to thank And if you want to call into Mike in the Night, go ahead and just call into Mike in the Night. The show's ready to go for next Saturday. If you want to call in, you could remain anonymous. Tell us your story. Anyways, guys, I'm enough talking now. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.